just want to do this live to talk about how to create the reality that you want. And the reason why I want to talk about that is that I've been noticing a couple of little kind of pen stuck in my hair. I've been noticing in my own pattern, patterns showing up. So I've decided I need to shift something, and then I thought, hang on, I need to shift my focus on something. So I talk a lot about, I thought it might be helpful to share that with others. So I talk a lot about operating from a place of love or a place of fear. And I've talked a lot before about focus and where is your focus. I saw someone mention on a group this morning that they were focused on a particular thing and it kept showing up, and they started to think that maybe they were making it happen by where they were focusing. And there's some truth in that, because what we focus on expands. So in a sense, whatever we've got showing up, and I've noticed patterns showing up in something I'm doing. So I take a step back and I say, okay, there's a pattern showing up here. Where's my focus? And I've noticed that in this particular area, I'm focused on the details and not maybe the bigger picture. I need to shift my focus to the bigger possibility, or shift my focus away from dealing with that particular thing into something else. And what do I want to create? So it might be shifting your focus from a challenge to what you want to create, shifting your focus from the detail to the bigger picture. And it is kind of like, you can operate from fear or love, and I'm operating from love, but I've not maybe noticed that. I'm noticing now there's a pattern showing up, because when you're focused on something, sometimes you can't see that you're focused on it. So you need to create some space to see what's going on. So that's awareness, isn't it? So I've just got this awareness that there's this pattern showing up in something that I'm doing, and that I need to shift my focus from details to bigger picture. And then probably a couple of other things I wrote down was to focus. We talk a lot about gratitude and abundance as well. So sometimes, like when people are operating from fear, they may be operating from a place of lack, of not enough and stuff like that. So we say about shifting to gratitude and abundance. Coaches say that sometimes. But I think it's more about something, it's more about being that, if you get what I mean. I talk about it in my book, it's a thing, it's more about being than something you have to do. So it's like being love, coming from a place of love. Being grateful. Not just, I saw a post yesterday, it's not just being grateful for something, it's being grateful, full stop. It's, the person that posted on that post this morning about they thought they were creating this kind of thing because of where they were focusing. They thought they were creating these particular people showing up. That is, what we get, what we expect. So by that person expecting those type of people to show up, I think it was a business scenario. So expecting people to show up who were complaining, who were not wanting to buy their services, things like that. If you expect that and you focus on that, that's what you tend to attract. So again, it's about where you're coming from, isn't it? So it's always a really good idea to have a little look at where you're coming from. Am I just check it? Am I coming from fear or love? Am I looking at the detail or the bigger picture? Am I coming from abundance or lack? If you want to create the reality that you really want, then it's important to be as open. So you focus on the limitations or the possibility, to be as open as possible to that showing up. Now, if you want to create something and you don't think it's possible, or you don't really believe it could happen, that's not going to help, is it? So I've got believe written down as well, because it's really important. Hi Hazel. It's really important to believe that what you want to create is possible, and also that you deserve that too, isn't it? So, believe focus, lack of abundance, gratitude, limitation, possibility, big picture. You focus on the big or the small. Hi Hazel. Just a few things. And are you noticing any patterns? Are you noticing the same type of things showing up? Are you noticing you're getting yourself, lots of times over my life, I noticed after a while that I was getting myself into the same situations, the same relationships. Does a good spring clean count, Anghara? Well, if you want to create, yeah, if you want to create, again, if you want to create a good spring clean, you've got to focus on that, haven't you? You've got to focus on what you can do to create that. So there is action involved, but where focus goes, energy flows. That's right, Scott. There is action involved, but I'm kind of talking before the action has taken place, because if we don't believe it's possible, if we can't take that step back and look at what we need to do, if we don't see that that needs to happen, if we don't have that awareness that that needs to happen because we don't recognize the patterns showing up. So how does, Anne Harrod, how do you know that you need to do a good spring clean? You know, obviously you might have noticed that you've got lots of stuff, or you might have noticed that you know, I sometimes notice I'm falling over things, I need to get rid of stuff. So it's kind of that beforehand stuff. How do you know that you need to change something, I suppose, and that's about awareness, isn't it? So when you've noticed that, then you have to believe that you can actually do a spring clean, and you have to create the time and space to do it, don't you? Yes, good spring clean, any time of year, get rid of stuff, and people not long need or doing good for you, so plan this as a goal. You need to let go of people sometimes too. You need to create space of the people in your life. You need to surround yourself with different people. Not everybody's meant to travel with you on your whole journey, are they? You know, people come and go. Make sure you get right into the nooks and crannies, Anghara. That's what Ian Croft said. So thank you, Ian. Yeah, these are very good. It's declutter thing on Facebook. I think it's called a bag a day for 40 days, or a 40-day declutter, or something like that, where you can just tackle it in small chunks. I quite like that because you can break it down into chunks. But first, like I said, you have to realise that you need to do that, don't you? I've really enjoyed just getting rid of junk and having a tidy life. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, creating space. So what does everybody else want to create? Like Scott said, you know, where focus goes, energy flows. And it does. Where we focus expands. I've talked about focus before. Whatever we focus on expands. If we're operating from a place of fear and we don't feel able to do something, or we feel limited, then but the possibilities are smaller for us. We don't believe it's possible. You know, we can come from that place. Or if we're coming from a place of love and we are open to the possibilities, we really believe that. I think believing that what you want to achieve is possible is really important. So you need to kind of get that set, in a sense, before you do it, because it is like people think we see it and then we believe it. So many people won't believe anything until they see it with their own eyes, and actually you need to believe it first and then you'll see it. So you have to, once you've got that belief in your mind, once you've created what you want to create, once you're focused on that, you tend to pick up on it in the world then. So then you create the reality you want, because all the time those things were already there, but you didn't see them because you were focused on something else. A clean home is a clean mind. That's right, Scott. Clean home is a clean mind. We can declutter our minds too. We can declutter the people in our lives. We can do all sorts of things, can't we? You know, it's not just our homes we can do. You recently had a big declutter and built a fish tank. Great therapy and helped me focus on other things. You can watch fish for hours as well. They're quite therapeutic to watch fish, I find. And I've seen your fish tank. It's really good. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say to you really about it's more kind of about before you do, because we can all think of things we want to do and just run in and do them. But actually, if we take a step back and we ask ourselves, where do we focus? And we focus on what we want to create, because what we focus on expands. do we actually believe that it's possible for us? Are we focused on lack or abundance? Are we coming from a place of fear or love? Being present is another one as well, isn't it? Indeed, thank you. Being present is another one as well, and I think when we're coming from a place of love, we are being present. We're in the present moment. We're not worried about what's happening in 2 weeks or whatever. So there is an element of whatever it is you want to create, you need to be able to let go of the outcome of it as well. Because when we're present and we're coming from a space of love, we're not attached to it happening. 4 cats and 3 fish help relax Anne Harrod. And pets are great, aren't they? Pets are present. Yeah. So it's easy to get focused. I've noticed in the thing I've noticed this pattern showing up. I've noticed that I'm probably focused on the details a little bit too much in this one area. So I need to open up there. I need to shift my focus. I need to go back and look at my beliefs maybe. But actually, I just need to be present, come from a place of love, and maybe open up a bit more about that. So maybe I've got a little bit too narrow in that one area. So it's doing less really. Again, like I said in my book, we do less. If I've got a bit narrow in that area, maybe I've focused a bit on the details. It's gone a bit narrow. It needs to open up, and I just need to let go of that, and it needs to open up, and then it becomes much bigger, doesn't it? Yeah. So that's what I've been looking at. Have you noticed is there anything you want to create that you want to focus on, or have you noticed any kind of patterns showing up? I think we get the same lessons over and over and over again sometimes. I don't notice that so much these days because I'm always growing and in growth, but I used to notice it a lot because I wasn't learning the lessons, because I was just going, kind of scratching my head going, what's this about? But not really understanding why the same lesson was showing up for me again and again and again, or I was finding myself in the same situations again and again. So that can happen in life as well. So again, create space to see what's going on. It's awareness, isn't it? Awareness, and just checking where you're coming from. What are your thoughts about it? I mean, thoughts are always they're never about present. They're always about what hasn't happened yet or might happen again and all of that. I don't do much thinking these days either, so that probably helps. I want to focus on finishing my mobile showroom this year, but keep getting distracted. Okay, so you want to focus on that. I think any goal, when we focus on it, it's like when I did my book as well. It's like I've been doing my paperback this morning. I've been uploading it, and I'm coming across challenges. So I've had a challenge with the cover. I've now got a challenge with some images inside, and I've got a challenge with embedded fonts, which I've just tried to embed, and you still won't have any of it. So I'm taking a long time on that. So I'm like, I just need to let it go for a minute now. Go do something else. So I thought I'll go and do a Facebook Live. I'm going to do some summit stuff, my summit interview later on. So I'll let it go for now. I'll come back to it later. So again, I create space then, and I go away, and I'll come back to it later. Now you can look at that as distraction. I could be distracted, but I'm not distracted. I'm kind of deciding to put it down and pick it up at another time. Yeah, so I'll pick it up later and I'll have a look at it then, or I'll pick it up another day. So when you say distracted, are you saying that you're not in charge of that? That is, you're getting distracted by other things rather than deciding, because anything that you want to create, there's going to be times where you can't do it, things get in the way. So I've had Beau all weekend now with Blue, his puffy eyes and all of that. So I've not got much done over the weekend. It's been nice to have the weekend off and do other things, and we've gone to the park and stuff like that. But we couldn't go outside very much either because his eyes were puffy, and it's all the hay fever thing and all of that. So life gets in the way, challenges get in the way. But as long as you you keep doing that and you're back on track, and also sometimes you need space to kind of rethink it. and it'll change, and you know, you might decide to do it a different way. So other things seem to get in the way. So yeah, not in my control, but I'm working on it. I mean, life, we can't control what happens. You know, I've had something happen this morning that meant I couldn't start work straight away. I had to go sort something else out. So life happens, but what I find is at those moments you just have to kind of not worry about it, not get frustrated, and just know that you'll come back to it. So as long as you keep coming back to it, come back with a new head. Yeah, that's what I mean really, is to come back. There's no point getting frustrated and worried about the fact that you can't do it at that time. It's really about, that's what I mean about not being attached to the outcome, is just to let it go and to be able to pick it up or put it down at any time without creating, because we create the frustration with our thoughts. So it's without being able to create. Hello, Mary. Yes, I love you. You keep saying I love you. I love you too. And then Anne Harrod said something as well. Reading is my love. I've wanted to be a writer since I was very young. So jealous of you writing and publishing a book. But writing and publishing a book, if that's what you want to create, it's actually really, really, we make it more difficult than it is. You know, my first book was created in 31 days, so it was 1,000 words a day for 31 days, and it was challenging. There were times when I left it till 11:30 at night. There were times when I got it done and it was easy, but by committing to the whole process of doing it over 31 days and showing up every single day and writing 1,000 words, it got easier. I learned so much because 1,000 words at the beginning took me about 50 minutes, and then towards the end it took me like 10 minutes. So I got faster at it as well. So you just need to create the space and the time. I let go of having a title or knowing what I was writing about, and I just decided to write every day something that inspired, whatever inspired me, whatever I felt like writing about. And at the end of 31 days, I had 31 pieces of writing. Some of them gelled together in a book. And I made my book about life and business, so I made it a wide scope. And then some of them didn't quite fit, so I took those out and I had added a couple of new ones in. So it's letting go of the outcome of what we think. Sometimes we think we have to know what it looks like, what it has to be about. The second book I wrote on the anxiety one, I wanted to do it on anxiety, but I think I wrote that one more from a place of service, so it wasn't about me, it was about serving other people, and that made it easier. I just thought, I'm going to get my philosophy down about this. What do I think about it? Get that down about it, based on my experience, and I got it down. And then, again, it was easy because I used dictation, but I dictated it into my phone. I did 18,000 words in 2 mornings, and then, which sounds easy, but then I spent the rest of the month trying to make it make sense, because, go back to work, Scott, going back to work, so see you again, Scott, thanks, peace to you too. So, yeah, got that all done, so that sounded easy, but then I had to spend the rest of the month making it make sense, because the dictation hadn't written some of the words correctly. So what I learned there was if I'm going to dictate it, I need to slow down, and I need to watch it as it's dictating, so I catch any errors as they go in. But still, I'd have to edit it, because still it wouldn't quite make sense. And I edited it several times to go over it, and then I gave someone else to go over. So it's a work in progress. You really have to start. So what I would say to you is, Anne Harrod, you want to write a book, are you writing every day? Because that's what I would say, is to just write every day, and do it because you love writing, not because you want to create a book. But like I was kind of, with my 1,000 words a day, I was writing just because I was inspired to write, and I did have the book as the end goal, but I let go of that. I didn't really focus on it. I just kind of wrote every day whatever inspired me to write. So it could be about anything. And if you look at that book, there's stuff in there about business, there's stuff in there about life, there's stuff in there about decluttering, there's stuff in there about creating space, there's all sorts of stuff in there. So it's just pieces of writing put together in a book. So it doesn't have to be that difficult to write a book. And even to publish a book, you can do it easily these days on Amazon. And you can, I've got my Kindle book up there, and now I'm getting my paperback book up there. But I've read into a few issues of that as well. So we make it harder sometimes than it has to be by our thinking around it. So what kind of book would you write, Anne Harrod? What would you want to write about? Or maybe you just want to write, like I said, just write because sometimes you have a topic in mind, but just write because you like writing, I think is a good idea. So has anybody got any questions about creating the reality that they want, or anything that they want to particularly create in their own life? I just thought, I noticed a couple of things that I was doing that I thought might be useful, so I thought I'd share this with you. And where are you coming from? Are you coming from fear or love? Are you coming from limitation or possibility? Do things seem hard or easy? Because that's the other thing. We say things are hard sometimes, when actually that's how we're describing it with our language. And if we describe it in a different way, that it's easy, or that it is joyful, all of those things is how we describe it. So again, it's where we're coming from. So whatever it is that you want to create, Anne Harrod, how are you talking about writing your book? You've wanted to be a writer since you were very young. Joseph, you're writing and publishing a book. But how are you describing that? Is it a difficult thing for you to do? Is it an easy thing for you to do? With Scott and the workshop, is it a hard thing? So there's the language that we use as well around these things that's really important. Do we focus on lack of abundance? Are we focused on there not being enough time to write a book, to be not be enough hours in the day to get this showroom finished? Or are we letting go of the outcome and in abundance about, or having faith that it's just going to happen? We know it's going to happen. It's like, if we think about writing a book and we think, it's not like, am I going to write a book? It's like, it's going to happen. It's just like, when is it going to happen? I don't know, but it will happen because I have faith that it's going to happen. So if we have faith that something's going to happen, then it kind of, everything we do towards that, it kind of builds up to it. It just happens. Sometimes we have to, was it Jay-Z that said you can speak things into existence? So I know that you can do that. So I've done that before. So you can, like, what do I want to create? So I'll create something that hasn't happened yet, and I can speak that into existence, because the more that I speak about it, the more things show up in line with that particular thing that I speak about. So it's like the law of attraction stuff. When I speak about something that hasn't happened yet, but I speak about it as if it has, and I might say, like, I did it with the leader stuff. So like, I am a leader. I might put that in an affirmation and say I'm a leader. And then all of a sudden, all these other things come in that fit with that. And then the actions that you take you closer to that as well. So there's lots of things I've done where I've done that. So the kind of belief comes first, and then the other stuff comes after. So Anne Harrod, do you think of yourself as a writer, or do you say to yourself, I've always wanted to be a writer since I was very young? So if you started describing yourself as, Anne Harrod Williams, I am a writer, that's an idea. Scott Jenkins, I have a showroom just down the road. Then you're going to create that much quicker because you talk as if you already have it. That's what you do. So because you have to create it then, because you believe it so much, you have to create it. So it's not like you might create it one day. It's like, I have a showroom. So it's like, it already exists in my mind, and now I'm going to create it in reality. That's how it works. So I just wanted to share that with you. Hopefully there's some really useful tips there on really getting some awareness about where you are, what patterns are showing up, what do you want to create, are you focused on that, is it possible for you, how are you describing it, is that making it easier or harder, and do you really believe it before it's happened? So if you want to create something, you need to believe it's possible and that you deserve it before you can create it. So hopefully there's lots in that little Facebook Live video for you to think about. And it's not so much about thinking, it's about where you're coming from, it's about where you're operating from, it's about being. So being grateful, being in abundance. Focus, what we focus on expands, but a narrow focus is not particularly good sometimes. And we talk about clarity. Sometimes you can have too much clarity that it kind of lets everything else get pushed outside of that, I think, as well. So it's kind of clarity. In some respects, clarity has been good in some areas to attract people. I think clarity is good to attract people, and I'm just working on coaching for specific people at the moment. So coaching for creatives is something that I'm looking at, because I'm a writer, I'm very creative, I like creating content. So I've done photography as well, so I like creative things, I like art, all of that. So I'm looking at coaching for creatives. So that's like a very specific thing, so that's very good for attracting the people that might be interesting for. But sometimes we can be too, I feel in this area, in this thing that I'm doing at the moment, my focus is too narrow, and that needs to open up. So there's no right and wrong in any of it. So in some things we can have, a wide focus can be useful, I think, and in some things a narrow focus can be useful, but it's still coming from that place of love and not fear kind of thing as well. So yeah, what's showing up for you? Is it what you want? What do you want to create? Have a little think about that, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks.